Hello, everyone, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. This is our holiday episode because it airs on Christmas Day. Said Eve there. We are doing 1972's Solaris by Andrei Tarkovsky. It's our third time doing this because we did Stalker and we did Rublev.
Yep.
Yes. And now we're doing Solaris. Like, basically, they say it's in the East, it's 2001 Space Odyssey. In the West, it's Solaris as a sci-fi like in the 70s.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Like this kind of like this sci-fi masterpiece.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, 2001, and then you have Solaris as well in this decade.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I saw it was like a nice little tidbit with on the internet. I saw while doing research. This is a Tarkovsky movie, so it's long. 2 hours and 47 minutes, but it's split into two parts, which I did. I did the first part, and then I took a break, grabbed a sandwich or whatever, and I watched the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say this: part one is slow one.
They're both pretty slow.
But part two has a lot going on with it. It's like it's finally like feels like a a pure sci-fi movie. While the first half is very just set up.
Well, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Tarkovsky made this kind of in response to 2001, where he felt 2001 is incredibly soulless as a movie, which, if you see it, you could probably agree. And he wanted to put kind of a soul or an emotional undercurrent.
It's more of the question of what a soul is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions in this movie.
Yes, it's a very existential kind of ponder. Like it's a movie that ponders.
Oh,
it just sits and
ponders.
Thinks.
It ponders, all right. It definitely ponders.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions in this movie that ask the question of what is human?
Mm-hmm.
What is, what makes a person? Is it the DNA? Is it the memories? Is it the appearance? What makes a human? Also, past. Mm-hmm. Dealing with the past and moving past it, and not letting the past affect your present. Stuff like that. A second chance, if you will. Stuff like that. There's a lot of themes to this. What's real and what's not. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Basically there's a planet called Solaris. The title drop, by the way, if you go to title drop on Instagram, is 8:36 is when they say Solaris. They go to this planet. Well, this guy Chris Kelvin, great name.
Kelvin is a famous scientist.
I guess Stan Lee made that name. He's a famous scientist, and he's a psychologist, I believe.
No, the name Kelvin comes from a famous scientist.
I know that, but like the actual character is a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
He's spending time with his dad. They're not really the friendly of a common relationship.
Right.
They're very distant.
They're all very science
like
oriented.
Yeah, and basically they watch this video that goes for 20 minutes. About Burton's dealing with Solaris, and there's a lot of weird stuff. They're like kind of like losing their minds there, so they send the psychologist there to the Solaris Ocean. It's the ocean. That's what they show a lot of water, a lot of visual effects on the water to make it seem like it's otherworldly. And it works.
Yeah,
it looks really weird. And he just gets there, and the ship is in disarray, and there's supposed to be 3 people. There's supposed to be Galberti? Was that the name?
I think that's the one that Kelvin knew before.
Yes, that's the friend, and then there's
Snot, and then there's another S name.
Sartorius, yeah. And Sartorius is the writer from Stalker.
Yep.
He plays the writer, which is a nice little... Because Stalker came out after this.
Yes.
So basically... Gilbarty, spoilers, kills himself
before he gets there.
Yes.
Yeah, before Kelvin arrives, he finds out afterward that his friend had already killed himself
and made a video. That's a very disorienting video. Mm-hmm. And Snot and Centaurus do not want anything to do with him. They're just kind of avoiding the questions, but they're like, he starts seeing people around, and they call them the guests.
Yeah.
And basically, they're just kind of, they don't delve into everyone else, all the other visitors, but when Kelvin goes to bed and wakes up, and he sees his dead wife of 10 years, who died 10 years prior, sitting there staring at him and talking to him. It seems like the real Hari, as his wife's name, Hari. And he's like, oh, I don't know what you are, and shoots her off into space and kills her.
Yep.
But then another one shows up, and he's like, what's going on? So I'm assuming the other visitors are part of the past of, like, I guess, Snot or Centaurus. But they also didn't say that the former crew members that are no longer there, that could be their memories stuck in this ship. Or the station.
It's not really thoroughly explained. It's just they talk about them as, unwelcome guests.
Yes.
And there's nothing really you can do about it. They're gonna keep because you see with Kelvin, he lures the first Hari into a little space pod and launches her,
and basically lights himself on fire.
Yeah. And then she shows up again.
Yeah.
And then that one reaches her demise at one point.
Well, she can't be away from Kelvin because it's
that
his
one,
memory.
Yeah. The second one can't.
And
but
she
then
crashes through the door, has blood, but then he sees that she regenerates.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, she can't die. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, is this the secret to immortality? They kind of delve into that like a tiny bit. They don't go further into it, but they're like, this could be like an idea. And then there's this whole talk that Hari later becomes, she gets memories of her own. Mm-hmm. So that makes the idea of like maybe she's a person now.
Yeah, because she's able to exist outside of Kelvin's presence.
And then they have this big, point. Like, kind of like, it's at Snot's birthday party, which is the most pathetic birthday party I've ever seen. They have a talk about what makes, is she a human? Mm-hmm. And Centaurus is like, no, she has different DNA. She's made of nitrins?
Neutrinos?
Neutrinos, that's the word. She's made out of that, so she's not a human. So in his eyes, if you're not the DNA structure, and you're not made of atoms, you're not human. Well, Kelvin's like, she looks like her. She has the memories. Mm-hmm. She's human. And then she's like, has a personality of her own, so she's like, I'm a human now. And it makes you think, what does it make us human compared to everything else? Like any other kind of species or animals, really. Mm-hmm. Is it the DNA or is it the memories? And there's a lot of regret because Kelvin basically says, like, before she died, I didn't treat her like I loved her. Mm-hmm. And now he has a second chance, so now he's like really kind of like, I love you. Yeah. And even near the end, like, it kind of like he starts doubting it a little bit. Like, maybe am I in love with her or stuff like that? And she's just like, she feels guilt because she knows that she's not Hari. Because Centaurus ruins it by telling her what happens to Hari. Yeah. And basically, it also deals with like the past. Like, you see, like, his mother. He has visions of his early mother. And you see that there's a relationship between his dad. There's like an estrangedness because of the mother. So it's kind of like it's kind of reflecting on his past a lot and saying, like, how did I become me? Yeah. Also, he has the best hair of the whole movie. He has like kind of like this black hair, this gray here. Yeah. He has great outfits too. I'll just say that. The set design on this is great.
Yeah, I do love the space station, the way it looks.
It's very minimalistic. Yeah. But also looks very futuristic. Like when that big open white room that has like the windows of the sun glare coming through, that looks very futuristic to me. Yeah. And then the ending is very like, oh damn. Oh damn. Yeah, like the pacing is very slow.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and it's
especially that they're driving on the highway.
The kind of Tarkovsky signature, like, we're gonna have as long a take as we can for each shot.
That's him. That's his style. I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, he always, like, however long he can squeeze out of a shot, he's gonna get it. Yeah. Whether you're looking into a pond, whether whether he's referencing like famous, art pieces where like he's hugging his father, which is a reference to the Prodigal Son, the Return of the Prodigal Son painting. Yeah. Or just
there's even a scene where she's Hari the clone is appreciating that big like snow art with the wolves and stuff like that.
and then there's the station itself where he just follows him like as he trudges through this empty space station,
I like
trying to find somebody else.
I like how like near the end he's just in his underwear at that point, just like I'm just gonna wander around my underwear. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I love how a lot of things just kind of like they show like the Solaris thing, and they show Hari drop down after drinking the liquid oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, whoa, what the hell is going on? Like there's every time they cut to like Solaris, it's like it seems like time passes like so much. Like he wakes up and Hari's gone. Like what?
Yeah.
What happened?
But I love how ethereal they show like the waters of Solaris, like how ethereal it looks.
Yeah,
because it does look otherworldly.
Also, the score is very minimalistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very kind of like little synth here. Very, I think it was like kind of like they took reference from Bach.
Yes.
Like kind of like that. They kind of like the choral like well, Bach was very into God and God kind of music. So church music. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. Has kind of like that.
Yeah, I believe they do have like pieces from Bach in this.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Like it's got a lot of great performances. It's it's long.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's shots where they decide, oh, we're just gonna film Burton on this car, and we're just gonna film the highway, which is a cool highway. It's all twisty and turny. It's a really cool highway. But I'm like, do we have to have this much?
But it's all like kind of putting you in a headspace and that emotional.
He also makes a choice to like some shots have color and some shots are like blue.
Yeah, there's very like, especially later, like when you're on the station, there's all these very, what's the word? Like kind of like austere kind of shots where like it's really colorful on Earth, but then like you get to the space station and it's just like devoid. Like you think like, did he desaturate this? But no, it's probably just the set design.
Yeah. There's a great scene. I really liked how they did the anti-gravity kind of thing. Like when they lose weightlessness, they have weightlessness for a little bit, and he's holding Hari in that green room, and they're floating. That was a really good shot. Like there's a lot of cool visionary, good performances. The second part to me is what. So like, the first half of the movie, I was like, I don't know about this movie. I'm not really digging it. I'm gonna say I'm not digging it. There's a lot of setup that could have just been 20 minutes of setup, and that's it. But the second part is where it really, I understand why people say it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I personally don't think it is.
You hit the richness of the second part where all the questions are being, not just put forth as like abstractions, but now you're kind of dealing with the situation itself. And understanding what it is to be human and like what things are kind of like it's weird.
I feel like this is a movie that you gotta watch multiple times and watch a bunch of like. I feel like you could do like classes on this kind of movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Like just like Stalker, but I think Stalker gets the themes out better. I think than this one.
Well, again, and Stalker's kind of like a second opportunity at it.
Yes, that's true.
He is taking another shot at a lot of similar themes.
I did read that Tarkovsky was like a little more kind of bummed out artistically about this movie, but he feels like he delivered a lot more on Stalker than he did on this. And I agree. I think this movie is worth watching. So Joe, buy, rent, or skip?
I'm gonna say this is worth watching at least once. I'm gonna say it's a solid stream.
Yes.
Rent.
Yeah.
It's
on the Criterion channel, so.
It's on the Criterion channel. They also, I'd be really interested to see what carries over into the Steven Soderbergh version. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's got George Clooney in it.
It's got George Clooney in it. But I'd like to see what Steve Soderbergh latched onto out of the original.
I'll also point out this was based on a novel.
Yeah, by Stanislav Lem.
Apparently the novelist was not a big fan of Tarkovsky's version of it. So I wonder if he was still alive, how you feel about the 2002 one.
Probably not that much better. But, I would like to see how they stack up against each other. To me, like, it's one of those ones that's claimed to be a masterpiece, and I think you can go either way with it if you watch it.
Yeah.
But I think it deserves to be watched at least once.
Yeah.
So give yourself a chance and just sit down and watch it. It's a long one. If it's in, multiple parts, watch that first part, kind of let yourself reorient and, try and absorb everything, and then hop back in
because
for
the second part
part.
starts with him putting her in the rocket.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Yeah, I agree. It's a good stream rent kind of thing. I feel like if you like where you're going with it, probably buy it so you can watch it. Well, if it's streamable on the Criterion channel, just watch it over and over and over again. I feel like I gotta watch it again. Mm-hmm. It's like a movie that's an onion. You kind of you get more layers the more you watch it.
Yeah, and
I guess it could be considered a masterpiece because of that. The rewatchability makes you want to watch and figure out more of it, and you learn more out of it.
Yeah, and
because the first time it's very like, oh God, can I take this task?
And upon watching this again, I do kind of prefer Stalker a little more to this movie. But yeah,
Stalker doesn't
still
ponder
great.
as much.
They're
This
both
one
great.
ponders a lot.
Yeah, it's a very contemplative film.
And you sit there, and you do that for an hour of just sitting there pondering. It's like, but Stalker is like a continuous journey. Mm-hmm. So, but we're not comparing this to Stalker or anything like that. But
well, you have to.
When you're Tarkovsky and you have all these movies, I know that we haven't done Ivan's Childhood.
That's true.
Which that's on the Criterion channel.
Then there's the movies that aren't on the Criterion channel that we haven't watched either.
Yeah. So, that's our thoughts on Solaris. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about Solaris. What are some things that we didn't tackle? There's a lot of things in this movie that we probably didn't bring up.
Yeah, there's a lot of great quotes.
Yeah.
What
was it sound sleep is basically the closest you get to death.
Yeah. There's a lot of really great quotes in it. There's a lot of philosophical discussion in it. So there's a lot to pick through with this movie.
Say your favorite quote of this movie down in the comment section below.
That'd be cool.
And make suggestions for next year. We have a lot of good things. I'll talk to you off camera about a lot of cool movies that we should watch. Mm-hmm. I know that they just announced January, February, and March releases, and there's a lot of good ones there. That said, next week on January 1st, we will not be having an episode of the Criterion Connection because every year, me and Condish, we take the week off.
Yeah,
the Christmas week.
We all get real busy.
Yeah, take the Christmas week off, so we don't watch anything Criterion. So next week we're not going to have anything, but the week after we're going to have some stuff for you, and also definitely make suggestions because it's New Year, so new suggestions. I think
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Look through January, February, and March what's coming out and tell us, this is a movie you guys should do. I know Roma is probably, people are going to bring up Roma and all kinds of stuff. But let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe, share. Thank you for another year of the Criterion Connection. We get a lot of good feedback. Even we got feedback recently from an executive producer from a movie that we did review. Mm-hmm. We're not going to say what movie it was. But because I don't know if they want I don't know if they want their identity out.
Yeah, it was really cool that they reached out.
Yeah, and they said that we questioned why was this put on the Criterion channel or Criterion Connect collection, and they said this is why, and they also said that's what they're working on now. I'm like, oh wow, we haven't responded, we're going to respond soon. But I was very wow, small world,
Yeah.
So until next time, I am Wade.
And I am Joe.
And we will see you later. Happy holidays.